Hey everyone, welcome to the X-String channel. We have myself as MC of the night, Rick with Is Your Six covered. We have Bryson Ellen there at the bottom, and we have, of course, the famous X-String. So appreciate everyone showing up tonight. Let's get started with saying some highs. All right, Bryson, how you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. How about you, Rick? Glad to be on here.
Doing good. So let's turn this off. And Mr. X-String, thanks for letting me be your MC tonight.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for doing it. I know you didn't have any chat time, and I figured this would be a good one right before the match.
That's right. We are going to talk about the Bushnell Elite Sniper match, and we're going to go over basically. I want to know from you guys, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there in the comment section would like to know. So we're going to start from basically your shoes and work your way up. We'll wait a few minutes and get some people in here. We got a lot of good people in here already so far, but we'll wait 1 or 2 minutes.
Good evening, Jer
like
Bear
that.
and TB and Jabari.
Got Jabari 308, and of course the famous TV.
And Daniel and Tim, getting the whole group in here.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get going here in a second.
Someone has feedback on their mic, and I think it's Rick.
Is it me?
Yeah, it's not now. You're good now.
I didn't do anything.
All right.
Maybe it's the iced tea touching the computer.
Yeah, maybe so.
All right, so for those of you that just jumped in, I'm trying to figure this out. We've got 20 in here so far. Appreciate you guys showing up. We're going to start from the bottom, and I mean the bottom. So first off, we're going to start with Bryson. Bryson, as far as footwear for the competition, you running normal tennis shoes, and you running some type of cleats? What do you got going?
I am actually running the Ultra Lone Peak Force. It's kind of like an all-terrain hiking shoe mixed with a running shoe. Super strong insoles. It's actually X-Ring put me onto them. They're really great shoes. Kind of a mix between a high top and a low top tennis shoe, but they're really great. Waterproof and super high treads.
I have
Yeah,
a pair of those.
I'm gonna be running the same thing. If you guys are not familiar with this shoe boot, it is a company called Ultra, ALTRA. If you're not, they're not that common, but you're starting to see more and more of them. They've been around for about, man, I don't know how many years now, and I've been running these shoes for years. They are super lightweight, but it's probably the most cushioning you'll ever find in a boot. The one downside of the boot is that they don't last that long. You'll probably get about a year out of them, but they are super light and they have excellent grip. So that's what I run as the Ultra. Rick, I think you actually have some Ultras now as well. And Rick, you are the one with the feedback.
I just switched microphones. You tell me if that's any better.
Better.
Is it better? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm using a different mic, so all this technology, with this going live all the time, you got to be you got to be a professional, got to have the equipment. All right, so we talked about shoes. Looks like you guys are wearing the same thing. The reason for the shoes, guys, the reason for the question. I still hear feedback from somebody, but from me.
Yep.
Let me turn this off, maybe. See if that helps. As you guys are going to be going 30 miles, correct? Is it 30 miles?
10 it's 30 miles.
So 10 miles a day with all your gear. So you guys got extra weight. Let's say, Bryson, how much weight are you going to be carrying with your rifle, your ammo, your bag, and all your stuff?
Right now, my total is looking to be around 44 to 45 pounds, somewhere right in that range.
All right. X-ray?
My pack is right at 35 pounds. I did have it a little lighter, but they sent out an email yesterday stating that the round count is increasing and that there will be approximately 4 to 5 stages a day, with each shooter engaging 4 to 5 rifle targets, up to 3 times each. So because of that, we had to all kind of increase our round count. So my pack's up to 35 pounds. I was trying to keep it around 31, and that's rifle and all. everything, food, water, you name it.
All right. So for some of you guys, let's just continue on. The only thing we're going to skip out on is underwear. I could care less. You got a special sock that you wear, something that wicks away the sweat and the water kind of stuff, or what do you got? Extra.
All right. Someone's asking if you're running two systems, a phone and a laptop, because we're still getting that feedback from you. But
I have this off.
okay. It's funny you should ask that. There is a really good sock company that I've been using for a long time. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them. They're called Darn Tough. Darn Tough is out of Vermont. They have a lifetime warranty. They do a lot of different types of socks. You don't have to worry about blisters as long as your shoes are fitting properly. But I swear by those socks. I have no other socks whatsoever in the house.
Wow. Okay. That's the only sock you run, period.
That's it. Darn Toughs, always.
How's the sound? Tell me if it's any better.
Yeah, Live for Wild says Darn Tough is all he wears. It does sound better.
It does? Okay. I'll just use this camera then. The Bryson, what about you? Me, I'm a Costco sock kind of guy. I just buy a ton of them and I wear them out and then I move on. But you?
I'm wearing some socks that are a little bit different. They're kind of like an all-weather / work sock. They're a little bit thicker, but not crazy thick. Just a little more padding, especially when you're working in a factory or something. But they're great for hiking as well. And I think they're like Timberland and someone else had a combination between them. I forget who makes the boots, but they're like work boot socks.
Nice. Okay. Pants, are we going to run some type of BDU tactical pants? Or are we running something that's easy to bend and flex in? Or are we running just regular like cool pants that we normally wear kind of stuff? Or what do you got rolling for pants, guys? Anybody?
Bryson always first. Go ahead.
I'm actually running a couple different pairs of 511s. I've got some for if the weather's going to be a little bit more cold versus a little bit warmer or rainy weather. I wear 511 tactical ABR pants or their Quest pants. They're some of the lighter weight pants that they make. They're flexible, but they're also durable enough that if you're running and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, they're not going to rip or tear on you. They're very similar to like your standard hiking pants.
All right. I have a lot of Cry precision gear from years ago, and they're heavy. They're very heavy. It's what I run in every match. But guys, they provide stuff for the military and everything else, and they have a lot of stretch in certain areas. And they also have padded knees. I'm not going to run the combat shirt with the padded elbows and all that because that's going to be too much weight. I'm going to wear something up top that's a little different. But as far as the pants, there's plenty of room in them, plenty of stretch. They have articulated knees. But I will definitely be wearing Cries. Swear by it. Wouldn't wear it anywhere else. You will not catch me in public with them.
The 511s are kind of like a less expensive, less set up version of that, a little bit more lightweight, but same kind of flex and everything as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Are we running now? You guys, are you running an inner belt, kind of the hook and loop stuff? Or are you running battle belts? What do you guys rolling?
So I am running something very similar to X-Ring. It's an inner and outer belt setup. It's a mix between this and a Cobra belt, which is an inner and outer setup. Same thing, kind of you wear this all day, and then you can clip your belts on there, and it goes hook and loop, so your belt's really secure.
Yeah, I am doing, matter of fact, I have it on right now, but I run exclusively G-code gear. I like their stuff. You do have to wait a little while on it, but the inner belt, you can actually wear it every day. Actually, I wear this every day, and this is just a nylon material on the back with a Velcro on the outside. Now, this isn't like your normal shooting belt in that there is actually a metal hook here that you can micro adjust like that. So you're going to have exposed Velcro all the way around the perimeter. So this will be what actually holds my pants up. And then as far as the belt itself, it's just it's not a full battle belt like the padded ones, but this is a G-code belt with the G-code, the RTS wheel. It's a really quick way to be able to take your holster for whatever you got it set up for. And I run G-code on everything, guys. It doesn't matter if I'm doing a sniper match or if I'm doing 3-gun, because once you put this in here for whatever type of platform you're running, Glock, Infinity, anything else, it goes in there, locks in. It has a lock tab, doesn't come off. It also has a hood here, and it's very quick to draw. So that's the holster setup on this, and all these are the G-code Scorpions for the mag pouch. I'm going to run 2 pistol pouches, 1 rifle pouch, and that's it. Did we lose audio somewhere?
I think Rick might have had us muted. And I will say too, go ahead.
Go ahead, Bryson.
I will say too, on the belt setup, Ray is running G-code and I'm running HSGI, which is really similar. I've just had all this gear for years and very familiar with it. And it's kind of the same thing, except the other thing too is I'm running Safari Land, just from all the years of 3-gun. I've run that stuff for years. And that's the QLS, same thing. You can kind of pop the holster on and off. It's nice and easy to detach. And I have the Safari Land ALS, which is kind of similar to a hood, other than the fact that you've got a little button, and you just hit that to operate your locking system.
Okay, then
okay, now as far as
and what's that again? I had myself muted. I said I could hear a lot of feedback with Bryson with my mic muted, so I know it's not me.
Okay.
But
now we can't show firearms on it, but
no.
I will tell you, normally I'm running like a 2011. I've switched everything up this year for this match, and what I'm running is a Glock 34. It is an MOS. I do have the high-rise sights on here, so even if this dot goes out, I can still use my irons. I'm actually more proficient with the irons, but the dot is going to make it a lot easier. Some long distance. I've got it dialed in. I played around with a lot today. Did about 400 rounds with the pistol. It's not as quick as the 2011. It will never be for me, but it is going to be ultra reliable.
And lightweight.
Yes, I'm going to be saving a ton of weight. If I had a 17 with an MOS, I probably would run it, but I don't. I just have the 34.
All right, a quick question before we move on. So any ammo that you're going to carry is already going to be in a mag, right? There's no reason why you're going to have anything in a box besides Bryson, because I don't know. Are you going to have 3 mags total, or that one just in here plus a couple mags in your bag? Right.
So
Bryson,
I will have 2 in my belt for the pistol, and I will probably have 2 more in the pack that I'm using. As far as the rifle mags, I'll have 3 20-rounders loaded and a 30 round that's downloaded. That way I have a 30 if I need it for a stage, and that way if I need to have a reload, maybe the stage setup is such that it's 22 rounds. I don't want to have to do a mag change. I'll just take the 30 rounder, transfer the ammo to it.
Got it. All right. Bryson, now you have 3 mags, 10 round mags for your bolt gun. You're shooting 6.5 Creedmoor, I believe. How are you going to do? Are you going to need more than? I would assume you're going to need more than 30 rounds, right?
So I'll need more than 30 rounds total in the match. I know 30 rounds for each stage is going to be more than enough. There's no way I'm going to be shooting over that. And I'm going to have 20 rounds on my belt. I'll have another 10 rounds in my pocket that's going to go immediately in the gun. That's the first mag in the gun. And then I've got more ammo in the bag. I may even actually have another mag just to play it safe. But I'm going to be carrying quite a bit of ammo just for safety's sake in the pack as well.
All right, so we got a comment out there from Jabbery308, and he's saying that nobody cares about weight. And I got to say, these guys are going to be hiking 30 miles. And
weight matters.
Weight is a factor, so it.
And there are time hacks. If you don't make the time hack, you are DQ'd out of that division and have to move into a different division, which is the mechanized division.
Yeah.
And 30 miles is no joke. Absolutely not at all. I've been running and training for this match for quite a few months, and putting on a pack that weighs 45 pounds and thinking that you're just going to haul tail and run like you normally do, it doesn't work out that way.
No, I can attest to that because we were training with 50-pound packs 2 years ago, and I sustained a knee injury from that. And it was fine when we were just hiking, but then we started running with them for some matches we do out west, and that's what caused it. So that knee is one of those things I kind of protect. So I was really counting ounces. I know a lot of guys were counting ounces on this year. We have another friend that they've got a team together, and they were literally weighing every single little piece to make sure they couldn't drop a pound here or a pound there.
Yeah, and you got to remember that X-ray and his teeth are getting long. He's not a young kid anymore.
I'm not a spring chicken any longer.
Bryson, on the other hand, he's young and ready to rock.
I'm still working on it. I'm trying to get ready and make sure that I'm all set to go. But I've been putting a lot of time and effort into getting ready for this match. That's for sure.
And tomorrow you'll be doing some more training by yourself, right?
Yep, absolutely. Want to get some more time behind the gun and doing some drills that X-Ring showed me, and just kind of spending more time getting used to my gear and just being ready.
All right, so I did turn my volume down so I can barely hear, and I think it might help with the echo. You guys might want to do the same as well.
All right, I just did that. I turned mine way down. We can't show the rifles, but we can show the packs and stuff that we're going to use on the rifles. Maybe we talk about packs.
Well, let's finish the thing. So we talked about pants, socks, shoes. What are you guys running? Are you going to run a couple jackets, like a thick one in case it's cold, raining? Probably going to rain. Definitely always seems to rain, right? And have rain gear available and that kind of stuff. What are you going to run for basically up here? Right.
So I'm going to be running kind of, basic t-shirt under everything, as well as obviously the pants and stuff. I've got a very lightweight kind of sweatshirt jacket thing. It's pretty snug, tight on the body, but it's something I can wear easily without getting in the way of any any gear, guns, or anything like that. And then I'm probably going to wear a hoodie over that, just to stay warm. And I can always toss that in my bag if I'm getting a little heated while I'm running. And it's also great for padding so that you can use that on your bag as a shooting position. The other thing is I've got a full rain kit, jacket and pants in my bag just in case it starts pouring rain or something like that out there.
Got it. Sounds like us turning our volume down definitely helped. So that's good. What do you run, Ray?
Well, I learned a long time ago I wear nothing cotton, even down to the underwear. I'll run Tommy John's. It just means I'm going to stink, but that's all right. You don't want anything because in most of these matches, it's going to rain. It's going to rain a lot. So we might not have any at this match, but it always rains at a ruck match. Trust me, it's going to be muddy. I'm just going ahead and planning for it because that's the way it happens. So I'll be wearing I'll be wearing gear similar to this right here. It's Outdoor Research. You guys know that I'm one of the industry pros for them, and I swear by their stuff. So that's what I'll be wearing underneath. And then as far as rain gear, you guys have seen me with this on the videos. I run the Infiltrator, the rain gear. This is crazy, crazy expensive stuff. But what it is, it's Gore-Tex, but it was designed to work under plate carriers and still give you movement. It is the only stretchy Gore-Tex that's made. So I'll wear that, and I also have a pair of rain pants for it, the Infiltrator setup. And that's pretty much it. That will be enough to stay warm. I shouldn't need any type of, at this time of year, I shouldn't need much, even though we are starting at 6:30 in the morning in the dark, and we will finish in the dark. The days are all day long.
From headlamps back to headlamps before the day is over.
That's right.
All right. So spare batteries for headlamps. Check. Everybody say check for that one.
Yeah, check on that.
All right. Brand new batteries in all your optics and your sights.
Yep.
Already done.
Already done. Cool. There it is. The hollow sun. All right. So let's talk a little bit about gear.
The Hollow Sun 507C.
Oh, yeah, I actually have one of those that was sent to me, but because this one's already on and dialed in, I'll just review the Hollow Sun. I don't think this is going to come off because it is dead on the money.
Show them those
As far
custom
as the headlamp, I wanted something really, really lightweight. Petzl makes a lot of lightweight things. I have some other ones that put out more light, but I just need enough light to see, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm running a super light Phoenix headlamp myself.
All right. So, are you guys running pillow bags? Are you bringing any of that stuff? Are you bringing 2 sets, one for each person? Are you going to share? What are you going to do for basically squeeze bag, pillow bags? Bryson?
So I know as of right now, both Ray and I have our own sets of sandbags. I believe both of us are running the, oh gosh, I'm blanking out on the name of them.
Sandsock gear.
Yep, Sandsock gear. So we've both got a set of 3 bags from them. He's got the squeeze bag right there in his hand, and then the mid-size bag as well as the big bag. These are some of the lightest bags that you can get, and that's what I'm running. I'm actually going to be clipping those on my pack or stuffing them in depending on how we're going to be rucking.
Yeah, those things are awesome. I have a set, and I use them.
Yeah, I will definitely be running the Sandsock gear. There's a lot of bag companies out there. You know, you've got Tab Gear, Armageddon Gear, a lot of really, really good ones. But the problem is to get the stability, they typically weigh more. And these are, this is a couple of ounces. And that's what I want, something lightweight. I will tell you, Bryson, I will not be taking that one. I won't take the pump pillow. I'm just going to take the small squeeze bag and this one because we could share gear, but it's going to take up too much room for me to have the big pump pillow.
And that's something for me that, I mean, this weighs, I think it's a little bit over a pound for this particular bag. But this is something that I'm a huge fan of for reverse kneeling or some other crazy positions. This is something that I'm definitely going to be packing, whether it's on my pack or in it. I'm definitely bringing this with me.
Okay.
So, and that's something too that we can utilize if we need to borrow it. You know, one person is going to be in a weird position and the other one's not. We can always trade off that way too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking about that with bags, something that kind of goes hand in hand with that is how many are both of you guys using some type of hiking walking sticks?
Yep, we both are, and I think Extrin can kind of take up for that because he's got experience with that. I'm actually borrowing a set from him.
Yeah, so guys, if you're doing any type of mountaineering or anything with a heavy pack, it's not bad if you're on flat land, but when you start getting into hills, especially with a pack on, there's nothing like a really good set of trekking poles. Leaky, I guess that's how you say it, Leki, is a company that makes really light poles. I think he's got a set of some carbon fiber ones. I can't remember which ones he's got. But since I live in the heart of the mountains, I have a lot of those. But I'm not taking a set, actually. This is a tripod by Night Force. I will tell you that I was a little... what's the word for it? I was a little disappointed at this tripod. It is really lightweight, and it has the panning feature and everything else, and this will have a hog saddle on it, so if we need an elevated position, we can. But Night Force has always been synonymous with the best quality gear, period. The problem is once you start using something like a really right stuff tripod, which is about $1,500, this is only about $300, then this can't compare. It's not even the same price point. But if this were a $300 tripod that did its job well, I wouldn't have as much of a problem. But the problem is if it rains, the rubber around the cinch here starts to slip. And so it's really hard to get tension on it once water gets under here. So that's my biggest complaint with this. But I will, since we're going to have the tripod anyway, what you guys are going to notice is you see a red one, and a black one. The red ones actually make your trekking poles, and they're super lightweight because this is all carbon fiber. So if you're going to carry the weight, now you have the tripod and you have your walking stick, and they actually have the wrist tethers on them as well. So that's how we're going to utilize that. So that way we'll have a tripod just in case we need it. It doesn't seem like the comments are coming in. I don't know, or maybe just people aren't commenting, which is fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I have my phone off, so I can't see if anything's gone past. The
And I will mention this too with walking sticks. There's so many things that you can do with these that most people wouldn't think about. And I'm not going to go in detail because I'm
Yeah,
sure
don't.
there's some people watching, but you can do a lot of things with some walking sticks.
You can improve your position dramatically by using walking sticks or some type of stick.
yes, for sure. Yeah, we had that little conversation the other day.
It's going to be a belly match. We're going to be all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Oh, I guess more people are not getting. All right. All the curious.
What's up, Val?
Val is out there. How's it going, Val? All right, so we talked about walking sticks. We talked about lots of stuff, but packs. Are we running the same pack, something different, different models, same maker, different model?
I know I am running an Everly stock, and I'm pretty sure X-String is as well. I'm not familiar if we're running the same model or not, but I think they're pretty close. No?
Not the same model.
Okay. I know this is it's a pretty beefy pack. It's a pretty large setup, but it's got a good belt on it and a good setup to hold a really long rifle, which my rifle is coming in pretty long. So it's a good setup to keep everything.
The pack is an Eberly stock, EBERLESTOCK. I actually reviewed one about a year and a half ago. I've been running the Eberly stocks for a long time. The military uses those, and they are the strongest rifle bearing packs you're going to find. Okay, I use a lot of Mystery Ranch products as well, but they don't have a really good rifle bearing system. So what you couldn't see when Bryson showed you his is that there is a pot right here, and that's where the rifle goes. You can go muzzle down or muzzle up, but it's designed to go muzzle down. You can draw it from the pack while it's on. This is the bottom. This is reinforced. And the thing is when you're doing a lot of rucking or movement with a pack, that rifle can start doing this. And once it starts doing that, it's going to wear a big blister on your back or on your spine. So the Eberly stock is really good at preventing that from happening. It has a lot of cushioning and it has a ton of ventilation. You're actually running, I think that's a Dragonfly that I gave you. And then this is the X31 pack. The difference is the layout of the pack. They are a little large, but we're carrying a lot of gear, so you have to have something that's, you know, about that 2,000 cubic inch range. Yeah. They're not inexpensive. These packs are going to run anywhere from $300 to $500 or so. But to carry that kind of weight all day and you can run with them, there's no equal to an Eberly stock pack.
Robert Warren asked if I got the bore snake yet for the 6.5. I did not, but I am at 200 and something rounds, I think I'm at. So I will be cleaning and decoppering the barrels, but I will not be using a bore snake. Let's see. So,
and I will make mention with the Eberly stock as well. With running, like Ray said, it's really comfortable. In training for this, I've probably ran well over 100 miles with this pack on in training for this match, and I've never had wear marks or anything like that. I've actually had more marks from the knob of my bolt on the center of my back, even with all the padding, but that's for me putting so much weight in my pack just to test myself and see how far I can go.
All right, we got
so Jabari, that's a yeah. That's a good comment that Jabari had on there. Let me pull it back up.
All right, he says, I almost shot TAC Optics Division in 3-gun, occasionally limited. I have little interest in bipods as they usually puts me in open. Now there is, what's that little bag that you run that'll keep you in TAC Ops?
That is going to be the one by Atlas. And
it's a nice sandbag attached to a picky tinning rail, guys. And as long as you leave it on the gun during all stages, you can have it without being open.
Correct. Now, I don't know if Jabari, I don't recognize the name too much, but so you're talking to 3 pretty heavily involved 3-gunners here. And we do a lot of that. So this is just a completely different type of competition. Yeah, we know everything about the open and the limited and, or practical or tack optics or tack irons or practical division. Depends on what group or organization you're shooting with. This is nothing like that. This is long range, which your targets are probably going to start at 300 and go out to 900 or more. And you have very, very short par times to do all of this. A lot of them are blind stages where you have to range on the clock. You have to figure out the distances, your holds, and everything else. We're using a lot of, hate to say it, but we do use a lot of electronics in this type of match.
Yes. In order to stay competitive, because a lot of the other people out there are. What we're talking about, guys, is a Raptor. It's called a Raptor. It's this big dinosaur you put on top of your gun. And it's got these teeth and these little short arms. No, it's a T-Rex. Ray, can you talk a little bit about the Raptor? We have before, but for
Did somebody ask about it?
Out there.
Did someone ask about the Raptor?
No, you had talked about electronics. But
oh yeah, okay. So I guess going with electronics. Okay, so we have data books. We kind of know what our holds are. However, environmentals change all of that. So each of us will be carrying a Kestrel. Look at that, a Kestrel 5700 Elite. And basically, this is a ballistics computer. And you can't take it for fact. It just gives you some good guidelines. But when you have big swings in, elevation, temperature, anything like that, that will actually assist you quite a bit. Yeah, I can't show the Raptor, but I can talk about it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it is already mounted. You dialed it all in today at the range, right?
Yes, I did. Hold on. Answering a question. It didn't spell that right. Sorry, I was trying to type quickly. But yeah, absolutely, Jabari. It's always good to discuss and keep it open. But yeah, if you have any 3-gun specific questions, I'm sure one of us 3 can answer them.
So that tripod was by Night Force, right?
Yeah, that is a Night Force tripod. They came to market about a year and a half ago, and like I said, it is a good tripod, but you cannot compare it to a really right stuff.
Yeah.
As far as, since we're talking about electronics, and I have a ton of people ask me about this watch. I know I was one of the first ones to get it out of the group, and I think there's probably 12 of them floating around now. We have no issues. They're Garmin Phoenix 5 series, 5X, 5S, and it is basically a wrist computer. So the reason we use this is this will tell you if you're falling behind on your time hacks. So it'll keep track of your mileage, and I know but you have to charge that every night. This will go a month.
Yeah, you guys have kind of next leveled me, but hey, I'm a high school student.
And if you're a golfer, this thing has another purpose. When you're playing golf, this will actually show you how far the green is and everything. Rick showed me that. We were playing golf one day. He's like, dude, the whole course is everywhere. It's got all of the information.
We're 73 yards to the pin. He's all, what? How do you know that?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't see you pull out a rangefinder. And he's like, it's on your watch.
Yeah, it's got scorecards. Okay, some of the other reasons, guys, why this is a great watch is it does pulse ox. So basically, it'll take your oxygen levels in your blood. So depending on if you're, getting close to COPD or whatever the issue is, if you need to regulate that or know what it is. Also does your heart rate and stuff like that. But it does a million things. It actually has an app that does data for rifle stuff. It's not as accurate as any of the other stuff we've been talking about tonight, but it does have some apps like that as well.
Yeah, so someone asked a good question here about the phone. I am not going to be taking a phone. This is extra weight I don't need. There will be enough people around. I hate it because I'm not going to get video footage with that, but I have no reason to have that. But that's something that I'll get broken on the match. That glass screen is going to break somewhere, and I'm just not going to risk it. So I won't be
Bryson,
packing a
he's
phone.
young. He's
Bryson, I
bringing
know
a
you're a
phone.
younger group. You won't go anywhere without a phone, right?
No, I will go everywhere without my phone. I'm one of the very few who doesn't really care as much. But I will tell you that my screen's already cracked, so I'm not too worried.
All right.
But
Yeah, we
yeah,
got to get some footage somehow.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
going to be going with me, just to document some other stuff too as well.
Yeah, what's up, Ken? How are you, sir? We're just in here talking about
Nice shooting. Jim's up.
everything we're going to be carrying for this match coming up.
We got
Paul
a
and
question that says, would a SIG BDX scope and rangefinder help, or would it be a hindrance in 3-gun? Oh,
Not
range.
necessary in 3-gun at all.
You can. I mean, we do range stuff in 3-gun before the stage.
Yeah, but typically the furthest you're going to shoot out in 3-gun, Bryson, what would you agree? 400 and maybe a 5 if it's regionals or level or
If you're running the dang thing, it's going to be 5.
The
well, yeah, if
farthest,
it's one of my matches, it's going to be further, but most of those can all be shot with a red dot. You don't even need a scope. You know, even if you're shooting TAC Irons Division, Bryson, I think you shot regionals with me,
yeah,
and we were hitting targets out to 500 yards. Just I was doing it with a dot. So, I mean, it's not necessary in 3-gun. Can it help? Sure, it could, but it's not really necessary.
yeah. I mean,
You're not
Ray
normal,
was smoking people at 500 yards with a red dot when people are out there using 1 to 10s and stuff, thinking that they're gonna put in work, and Ray walks up there and shoots the stage in 20 seconds when they're taking
I got
60 to
lucky.
80.
I got
Nah,
lucky.
well,
Yeah, his
I will say
eyeballs, for some reason, are ridiculous.
the farthest that I've ever shot in a match was 600 yards, but that was a full size, man IPSC target. Everything else is going to be roughly a smaller target, about 500 yards. So Ray was spot on with that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. As far as other items on the rifle, you guys kind of know what rifles we're running. I'm going to talk about some of this stuff again real quick. LRA, long range arms, digital level. Bryson's got one as well.
Yeah.
These things are invaluable for long range shooting, okay? You guys know how it works. You've seen it a million times if you watched our chats, but green is what you're looking for. It also works in this way, so that if you're candid, you'll see green and it'll hold it just right. So we're both running the LRA digital levels. I think we're both also running the Hawk Hill. These are the data cards that go on top of your rifle, so that if you got your dope, you can swing it out. There it is. There's your chart. And I keep a slew of these. So for every day, I'll have a ton of these with my holds and his holds on them. And it's just a good way to reference it. That way you're not looking down or looking through a book. And that's if they already give you the stage layout or give you distances.
I know Ray is a firm believer of this, but it's the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. You cannot beat stuff like that. It's just, it makes it easy. I mean, having the LRA and having that data card holder is just, it's so simple. And especially a team match like this, I can have his data, he can have my data. We both have, the same data on our cards. So there's no miscommunication as to, hey, I don't remember what my range is or whatever. You can help your teammate out and they can help you out as well.
Yeah, a lot of this match is about communication between you and your partner. So anytime I do a data card, matter of fact, this was from training the other day, you're going to see an R and a B. So what I'll do is I'll do this in doubles. He'll have the card, I'll have the card, but we both have each other's information. That way, if I get hung up on something, he can say 3.5 mils. If I'm having a brain fart and I don't know where I'm at. It happens. He's got mine, I've got his. Okay, so wrist dope holders. This is a good question. So Ken asked, are the wrist dope holders worth it? Yes, they are. And I have a couple down here by Armageddon Gear, and they use this same card. Guys, this is not dry erase. Once you write it, you have to use an alcohol pad. It's kind of like a permanent pen, but you can get it off with alcohol because you don't want it to be raining and all of a sudden your data is gone. I don't like to be on a rifle, especially if I've got my left hand tucked under the stock and have to look down or break my stock, my spot weld. So I'm not a big fan of that. The data cards make it easy. You don't have to spend this kind of money on one. This is just nice because it folds out of the way, and this is actually billet aluminum. I mean, it's built very, very well.
And I will say for something like 3-gun, the Armageddon gear wrist things are fantastic because you're not down on the gun the same way you are on a precision rifle. It's a totally different game. But for this kind of thing, having something like the Hawk Hill is kind of, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes it a ton easier. I will be running a suppressor, Thunder Beast. You guys know that I'm a huge fan of Thunder Beast. I cannot say enough good things about this. If you are looking for a precision rifle suppressor, that's the one to go with. You really can't, I'm going to go ahead and say it, you really can't look at anyone else. That's going to be the number one suppressor in PRS and everywhere else. Those guys make the best cans. I offered one to Bryson, but that's going to make his whole package even that much more heavy. And the reason you might say, well, why are you running a suppressor is extra weight. It's because we can talk easier. The communication just works a lot better. And what they usually say is if you're running suppressors, you're not required to wear ear pro. That's almost all of your team sniper matches. So that's a big benefit if you're not having to shout over the ear pro.
Now, do you
at this
feel
point,
like,
it's too late.
Yeah.
do you feel there's going to be any issues hiking 30 miles with all the weight of that rifle on your suppressor in that bag?
No, not at all. These are solid.
Yeah, I was just wondering because there's, it's going to be doing this the whole time you're running.
No, you can stand on this thing. It's fine. The bottom of that pack is reinforced, and almost, I would say probably 50% of the field's probably going to be running suppressors anyway. So, yeah, no questions there.
So it's about 5,000 for 3-gun and 10,000 for long range. That's probably pretty close, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, or more. Because
if you run a Raptor, guys, that's $6,000 just on top of your rifle.
Okay, so hold on just a second. You guys have to tell me the limit on this, but
Go slow. So funny. I already know you're good.
okay, so that is a Raptor.
That's it.
And well, I can show the scope. So there's a scope, but that Raptor right there is applied ballistics. It's basically a military tool that once you have it all sighted in, which I got everything confirmed today, I've got a firing solution on the side, a pad. So when I come up on it, I can just tap on the target that I'm looking at, and it'll read out 236 yards and give me my hold. And it does it in less than 1 second. And you might say, well, that's cheap. Give me just a second, y'all. But what's that?
Give me just a second.
Well, here's a good example. I don't know when Ray will be putting the video out. So he used that. He used the Raptor. We did a little video on his channel today, and it was about basically I ran a phone with my data card, right? And he had the Raptor. So we did an array of basically called out a number for a yardage we had to shoot at, and then I had to figure it out. So I had to go to my phone, figure it out. Okay, 4.6, I need to either dial or hold. I was trying to do a lot of holding stuff today. That was what I was there to practice. And that Raptor is so much faster. He hits the little button that says 4.6. He just holds at 4.6. And he was running a gas gun and I was running a bolt. But that's kind of that's the reason why that thing's so magical.
Yeah, it has everything that a Kestrel has. They will talk to each other. The only thing it doesn't have is the wind vane to get your wind speed. But because they don't have to be tethered, but if I want to tether it, I can pull the wind speed from the Kestrel itself. And another thing, I think, Jabari, one of the things you got to realize about long range, it's not that it's just long range, because typically when we shoot 3-gun, the targets are actually very large. It doesn't matter where you shoot. I mean, because I've shot all the nationals and regionals all over the country. And they all tend to be little 8-inch or 10-inch rounds, or they're bigger. A lot of the things that we're going to be shooting will be 1 or 1.5 or 2 MOA targets. So you're talking about a 9-inch target at 900 yards. So a lot of these also limit how many times you can shoot. So Bryson might get 1 shot at each target. One attempt, you're done. You have to move on to the next one. So everything has to be calculated right. So you'll have two shooters on a team. You have a secondary and you have a primary. Secondary almost always shoots a gas gun, and that's what I'll be shooting. I'll be shooting a 5.56 gas gun, 20-inch barrel, proof barrel. I'm shooting the Black Hills 77 TMK. It's a tip match king. Secondary shooters almost always get unlimited rounds. So the way you're going to win a match is the secondary should always get his targets. Let's say they give you 6 minutes on this stage. I should be able to get all those targets because I have unlimited rounds. But the problem is, and what I'll usually do is before it starts, let's say it's a 6-minute par time, I'll set a 3-minute timer on here. So at 3 minutes, my watch will start buzzing and let me know that I've burned up half the time. I shouldn't get anywhere near half the time because Bryson is going to need more time manipulating the bolt gun, and we've got to be very, very careful about our win calls because he might only get one shot at each steel. So my job is not just to burn targets down, it's to burn targets down and calculate what the holds are for him when he shoots. Typically, and not always, your secondary shooter is usually the more experienced shooter because he's going to be telling the primary guy with the bolt gun that gets one shot on each target what he needs to hold for wind. Because at these distances, if we're shooting 8, like today, Rick, we were holding 4/10 off target for wind later on this afternoon. And that's with a 6.5 Creedmoor. 4/10 is not quite half a mil, but that's only at 700 yards. So on some of these places, you can be holding, 3, 4, 5 mils, depending on how bad it is.
Doug B says the tea is going to rot my stomach. I have been waiting for it to rot all this stomach away, and it still hasn't done it. I mean, I've been drinking more since you said it's going to rot it away. It just
okay.
Always tastes.
Another thing that we're going to be carrying is, and I've mentioned this before. Actually, Bryson will be carrying this. These are Leicas. These are the HDBs. These actually have a firing solution in them as well as a laser rangefinder. These are 10 power fixed. What these will do is if I'm specifically spotting and I don't need to be on the rifle, these will give you a better read on trace and the vapor trail. So for you guys that haven't done a lot of long range shooting, I mean, a lot of you guys probably know this, but when you shoot, the bullet disrupts the air and you're going to see this, a vapor trail, trace, whatever you want to call it. You'll see this arc kind of going in towards the target. Well, my job, if I've already shot, which I should have an idea of the reading, is if I see that bullet start to do this in the binos, then I'll at least be able to give him a correction call on his next shot. It's harder to do that with a single scope than it is with stereoscopic vision. It's a whole lot easier to see bullet trace. That's a make it or break it. I will give up food for the day if I can't carry this. Because I can make it a day without food. I wouldn't want to, but I would give up an MRE pack or whatever just to have these in a match. There's no replacement for something like that or the Steiner rangefinding binoculars. Those run about $3,000.
Sorry about that, y'all. Had to take a second there.
It's all good. All right,
Rick,
so
I think you're muted.
Am I muted?
Rick is.
Oh, Rick is. Sorry.
Sorry. The some of the things that I saw today that was frustrating me was that one bipod that I actually purchased years ago does not have cant, and now trying to keep everything flat and level and all that stuff. There is no reason anybody should ever buy a freaking bipod that does not have cant. You're not going to find a perfectly flat place unless you're sitting on a parking lot or something. So.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And a lot of these shooting positions, they will have you on side slopes or on banisters or shooting out of, just awkward positions. So if you don't have something that has cant to it, you guys know I'm going to be running the Thunder Beast bipod, and it's quick. There is one disadvantage that I noticed today that I don't like about it, that the Warren has and that the Atlas has. And I'm a huge fan of the Atlas. Is the Warren and the Atlas, you can take the legs and move them forwards or rearwards. So if I need this for a barricade stop, the only thing I can do is do that. And so if I'm pressing up against the barricade, I can't get these to run the other direction. Yeah, Florida Bearded Fisherman, he's saying the 10x42, the Geovids, but these also have the HDB, so they have ballistics software in here. So when I hit it, even on those, if it says 600 yards, if I've got the custom curve in there, it will tell you how many mils of hold it is for the caliber that you're shooting. Now, remember, we're shooting two different rifles. He's shooting a 6.5, I'm shooting a 5.56. So we won't even have that on. We'll just be using it for laser range finding capability as well as the binos.
Got it.
That was a little bit of a learning curve for me, was getting used to the Leicas being, you know, I'm not used to having something like that where you can see a vapor trail or watch the bullets go in like that. I'm used to either being behind a gun or just using your regular vision, and it makes it a whole lot easier. And then ranging targets and stuff too. Like I said, I know Ray mentioned having a hog saddle with that tripod. If we had the extra time and getting set up for a stage where we've got, you know, say we've got, you know, 20, 30 minutes, whatever, before the stage, not 100% what we're going to have yet, it would be nice to get that in a hog saddle or something to get a stable position to make sure you can confirm those ranges without question. You know exactly what it is. You're not sitting there, you know, swirling around when you're holding the binos. You've got a stable position that some of those other guys might not have planned for.
Yeah.
We use those today. They work really well.
Yeah, there's another thing too about these type of competitions. Unlike 3-gun, where you typically have a lane or an alley that's like this, and you've got targets here and there and everywhere else, on a sniper match, your range of fire is much larger, especially if it's a blind stage. And so they might put one over here and another one over here and a bunch in the middle. Well, you got to think about what wind is doing. When you start changing the direction of fire, you might go from almost a no value to a full value wind. All right, so Tim Davis has a question. All right, let's go ahead. Go ahead and type it in there. We've got time. And we'll go ahead and get that answered as well.
Something I do want to mention too, you know, we're talking about kind of ranging and all that stuff. A huge thing that I have learned the hard way is keeping information, notebooks, things like that on hand so that you can write all that down and you are prepared for everything that's coming to you. Whether that's, hey, you know, he's got the same thing that I've got. I have 2 of these. I've got one that's going to stay in my pocket, pens, Sharpies, all that stuff, and it's a 3x5 or 3x4. And I've got another one in my pack that's a little bit larger if I was going to graph out where targets are at if we've got enough time.
Yeah, not all the stages will be blind, guys. A lot of times you'll have 5-minute prep time or a RO walkthrough, kind of like you do in 3-gun. And at that time, you're going to be, I'm not going to say fighting, but everybody's trying to get in the shooting position where you guys are going to be located. And sometimes you have to move positions between primary and secondary to try to get good values. And it's a whole lot easier and more accurate to use those binoculars than it is a little handheld 4-power binocular or 5-power laser range finding binocular. I actually went to a match. This was last year, and the RO gave us the walkthrough and told us the yardages, and I've always confirmed, never trust those. And I said, you're off by 180 yards on target 4. No, I'm not. We've already verified it. I said, well, you're wrong. This is what it is, and I'm not trying to argue with you. You know what? I'll keep my mouth shut. Y'all shoot his yardage, and I'll shoot mine. So everybody started breaking out their rangefinders. Well, it turns out they were wrong. The problem is we were the second squad to shoot that stage. So everybody was given the wrong value. I'm not saying that this is the end-all be-all, but I'm saying that if you've got something rigged up in a hog saddle with a tripod, you're probably going to hit that steel, not the other ridge behind it, and get you a bad reading. But yeah, it was like 180 yards off, and I don't care how flat you're shooting. If you're shooting a 6-dasher, that difference at 700 yards, you're going to miss.
And that's why I think taking notes is important. Things like that.
Yeah.
You can take notes on what, you know, I've done this so many times in 3-gun where they'll say, oh, the range is this, just like he was saying, and they've been off, and I've confirmed it. And it's one of the things when it comes to competition, and it's not cheating, it's not doing anything wrong, but that's when you kind of get quiet at times. Sometimes just say, hey, you know, I know exactly what those targets are, and it's a little bit of an advantage as well, having that knowledge and, taking that time to write that stuff and double check everything. A lot of guys take that for granted until it comes down time to shoot, and they're not hitting that target, and you got it on the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't answer this question for Tim because I have not used the 110 Elite Precision. I've shot a lot of the Savage 110s, some of the beefier ones that they used to make. It wasn't just a regular 110. I don't remember the model, but the ones that I shot were fine. The triggers were, they're a little different with that little shoe in there, but I've got one over here, but I'm not going to grab it or show it. Once you get used to the trigger, it wasn't bad. They shot accurately, but I've never messed with that Elite Precision, so I don't know.
OCD OD.
There was
OCD Outdoors.
Oh.
So what do you think the farthest distance has been that you guys have ever had to come across?
In long range shooting, or are you talking about?
No, long range.
In Douglas, Wyoming last year, or year before last, there was a target. It was a small target. I mean, this thing was a 1 MOA target. It was, I think it was actually it was sub MOA because it was about an 8-inch steel and it was like 989 yards. That doesn't sound bad, but in order to make that hit, my call on that target was like 3.5 mils for the wind. We made a first round impact on it because you only get one on it. It was, yeah, I mean, that's a tough shot when you're shooting out in the desert, off of a canyon. Low percentage shot for something that small. I mean, maybe it was luck, but it worked out.
Ben's got a good question about his favorite height range for bipod. I know when I go to buy my next bipod, it's going to be the one that's a little longer. Where we shoot's kind of downsloped. So by the time you get the bipod where you need it, when you go to shoot the 700, you're like all the way down. You can't even put a squeeze bag under the.
Okay, so you guys that watch the channel, this is that Thunder Beast. When you fully extend this at that range, you're still not high enough to shoot up on the ridge because your buttstock actually hits the ground first. So what he's talking about is adding the extensions, and the Warren has it. I reviewed that. And so now we're talking about a leg that's that long with that extension as opposed to this long. Now, guys, there are a lot of bipods on the market today because there is a huge need for them, especially with the boom of PRS and long-range shooting. There are bipod systems now that will integrate into walking sticks. You can use your walking sticks and use those as legs. So, yeah, there's some really cool, innovative stuff coming out there. I don't know how much you can load it without breaking one of those legs, but yeah, they've already thought of that as well.
So what would you say your favorite height range is? Isn't it 9 to 13, I think, is the standard?
Well, low is usually going to be about 5 to 6 for the start, from the ground to the base of the gun.
So 6
and
to
then
9.
Yeah, it'll go up higher. Some of them go up to like, I think 13. Actually, I was looking, I actually had a card here where it was written down.
Which he's running the Thunder Beast. I'm running the Warren, which they're like you said, and I'm sure you guys have seen the video. It's very similar. They're just kind of same height, just a little bit different design, but they're both very similar.
Yeah, average is up to about 9, but with the extensions, you can get about 13.
13, yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing different about Bryson's is it has the 45 in both ways, I believe, right?
Yeah, just like the Atlas.
And the 90, yeah.
Yep. Now somebody asked where these are from. These are both right in the rain pads. I think they're called like EDC kits or whatever, and I've got Sharpies and pens and stuff in there as well.
Yeah, if you get a right in the rain pad, get you a right in the rain pen. Because the right in the rain uses the Fisher Space Pen.
Go Mills, TV.
They'll write upside down. Yeah. Way to go.
Go Mills. Go Mills.
Yep.
No, I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to say that across.
You're not going to. I'm going to. Go Mills.
I'll say it too. Go Mills.
No, that question needs to be answered a little bit more. Okay, so is MOA better? Is minute of angle better than mil when shooting long range?
No.
What you guys don't know is that when you get into F-class shooting and all of that, most people are not going to be using mills. They're going to be using MOAs. A lot of them use second focal plane scopes. There's a time and place for everything. I will say that I used to, and I learned how to shoot using MOAs for a long time. However, now things seem to be going more popular towards mills. In 2015, I switched pretty much every optic that I owned over to mills, and I have never looked back. I can still use both systems, but mills just seem to work faster and better for me. The reason it took me so long to make that switch is because if you're from the United States, everything you do is inches. It's not going to be in, meters. You're not doing things in meters, okay? You go to a golf course, it's in yards. It's not in meters. If you're in the military, it's meters. But that doesn't matter if you're shooting in meters or yards, any of that, okay? Is it a little easier if you're trying to determine for meters? Yes, it is, but it will never be an issue for you, because what you'll do is you'll establish how far the target is, whether it's 600 yards, and I'm going to hold 4.2 mils. That's it. Once you get your data chart, it doesn't matter. It's just a unit of angular measurement. That's all it is.
Yeah, but you're going to get a carpal tunnel trying to click all the MOAs in.
Okay, yeah, there's a little bit more clicking, but let's face it, it's not that big of a deal. And if you're doing holds and you have an MOA reticle, it's not that big of a deal. The reason that I wanted to do it is, and someone actually commented on one of my videos that I posted, is every one of my spotting scopes. I've got a Leupold Mark IV. I've got a Bushnell. That's one of the higher end ones, but it's a nice one. They all have mill reticles in it. So if I'm spotting for Bryson or if I'm spotting for Rick at the range, and I see him shoot at the target, and I see the bullet go low and left, I'm not just going to say, dude, you're low and left. What I'm going to say is, I'm going to use that reticle in the spotting scope, and I'm going to say, you need to come up 1.5 mils and about 2/10 right. The next shot will hit. If it doesn't hit, it's going to be very close.
Yeah.
Can you get MOA spotting scopes? It is possible. Yes, you can get different eyepieces, but the guy that commented today on my channel said that he priced that out, and to get that eyepiece was almost $500 from Vortex.
Just to get the MOA version? Glass?
Yes, because you got to replace the eyepiece. He said by the time he got this and that, it was an additional $500. We are all in North Carolina. Thank you for answering that, Florida Bearded.
Yeah, thanks, Florida Bearded.
Fisherman.
I can't comment on anything, so thanks.
And I will emphasize, too, the only reason why I said mills is because X-Ring and I had a long conversation when I first got into this as far as what I needed to be on, and I wanted to learn one or the other. I know a little bit about MOA with some of the 3-gun scopes, but learning one and focusing on learning that thoroughly is so much easier than mixing it up and having one scope that's MOA, one that's mills. Plus, little things like he was saying with ranging and seeing where you're hitting, if you're missing or whatever. I was looking at a target through the Leicas when he was shooting, and I was saying, we've got 2/10 wind or whatever, little things like that. When he was testing me, you get to the point where you can recognize some of that stuff even with the naked eye at distance, just because you're so familiar with that in your reticle and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so this is not going to be funny for you guys because y'all are round eyes, okay? So Shibaseki is, if you are Korean or if you know Korean, or you have Korean family, you will know what Shibaseki is, all right? I'll just leave it at that.
Racist.
No, I'm not racist. But if you grew up around that house, you were probably called that a time or two. But anyway, thoughts on a STI or SVI or a Kai looking to get a 2011 for 3-gun and have a maximum budget of $6K. Any recommendations? Okay, so Shibaseki, you've got 3 people on here that actually shoot 2011s. Rick over there, it's reversed. Rick over there on that side, he has 2 SVI Infinities, and they're great pistols. I have a few. I have an Akai, and I've lately been shooting. Today I actually reviewed a new Atlas, the Hyperion. And down there, Bryson used to be, were you sponsored by Atlas, or was that just a pistol you bought?
It was kind of a slight partnership with them. It wasn't a sponsorship, and it also wasn't, just purchasing it. But I've had an STI and I had an Atlas, and then moved into the Cobalts.
Okay. So I'm going to give my input on this first, and then I'll let these other guys kind of chime in, and we'll go from there. In my opinion, for a competition pistol, if you've got $6K to spend and you want a competition 2011, I am going to say go with an SVI Strayer Voigt Infinity. It is going to take you a while to get that pistol, anywhere from a year to 15 months, but they are making those pieces and parts and components in-house, okay? And I'm not talking bad about everybody that I'm getting ready to mention here beneath me, but they make everything, okay? They're doing everything in-house except the barrel, okay? If you look at Shay Akai, and he's a great guy, makes an unbelievable pistol, he's using somebody else's grip. He's using the Phoenix Trinity, or, you know, he might give you this option. Or like the Hyperion today, they're using the Chile grip with a Chile magwell. Infinity's making all of that stuff. Okay, you can even get some of the Akais with Infinity grips. So it's like these other guys are custom builders, but they're using someone else's parts. So if you're wanting what I consider the best of the best, then just go Infinity. But a lot of people don't want to wait that long. Okay, it's like getting a white Daytona Rolex. You're going to wait a long time for it, but it'll be worth it when you get it.
All
the
right.
Akai is great. I've done a lot with that pistol and accomplished a lot with that pistol. The Atlas is a good one to look at. If you are looking at some of those brands, I highly recommend you check with Ethan Manning over at Manning & Sons. If you watch any of KB32's videos, he talks about Ethan Manning and Manning & Sons. He does not have a website, but he carries this stuff in stock. Okay, so you'll just have to do some research on it. But I know that he stocks Atlases ready to sell. He stocks Infinities ready to sell. But he's just one of those guys. He doesn't have a website, but it's what he does. Really, really good guy to deal with. That's where I'm at with it. I'm going to let you guys chime in now.
You want to go first, Bryson, or you want me to go?
I can go ahead. I've had a lot of time to shoot Akais. I've had a lot of time to shoot Infinities. I've shot Ray's especially. I've shot both his Akais and Infinities and all that stuff. I've spent thousands, 20,000 rounds behind an Atlas. I've spent probably 15,000 behind a Cobalt. Out of all of them, the best quality out of all of those would be the SVI, the Infinities. It's a super high quality pistol, especially for that kind of money. If you've got the money to spend, I would take it, save your pennies up, get it. It's worth the wait in the long run. Kind of like Ray was saying as well with, other manufacturers. And it's not a bad thing, but them not manufacturing their own parts doesn't really make it that full custom gun, and you're not getting that same quality. And that's one thing I knew with Atlas when I had my Atlas is, this is a semi-custom gun with all the you've got a few options you can pick and choose, but this isn't something that, is going to be it's hand fit, but it's not all done by one guy in one setup, with that same goal. Each gun is it's a little more assembly line versus the Infinity being, this is the gun and we're going to spend the time to get this done right, and do everything custom for you for your build. They're all quality pistols, but I definitely go with SVI.
Well, I'm going to agree. Some of the reasons why I've shot the Akais, I've shot the STIs, the SVIs, I own 2 Strayer Voights. The Atlas, I shot 2 really nice ones today. Very smooth actions. I would say the least of those, any of those are all great, and they're all very expensive. The SVI is definitely going to be your best bet if you have the money available. It's the smoothest slide you'll probably ever feel. I've tried a few when that what was that, the Combat, the one John Wick
Combat Master.
That thing.
Okay, let me interject one thing, and I'm going to tick a lot of people off when I say this. Just understand where it's coming from. STI International is not a custom gun. It is a production pistol. It is manufactured and built in the Philippines. Okay, I'm not saying anything bad about that, but that is a nice gun. One of the best guns I ever reviewed was the old STI, the DVC-3 gun, because I shot a DVC-3 gun way back in the day when they came out, and it's a good pistol, but you cannot compare it to any of these other ones that you mentioned below. Someone also mentioned Limecat. Limecat, I've never heard a bad thing about them. I've heard they make some unbelievable 2011s. But if you're gonna, when you go to all these companies, we'll put your Infinity trigger in there. Well, then just go to Infinity and get you one. Just if you're gonna do it and you're gonna wait, just go ahead and go to the source. They only require like $1,000 deposit. You do your build, and they don't require the payment until you're like 3 weeks or 4 weeks out from being done. So just pay your $1,000, forget about it, and the next thing you know, it's over with. It's kind of like waiting on a suppressor. Yeah, you're going to have to wait about a year, but I told Rick 4 years ago, do it now and forget about it. Well, now it's 4 years later, and he's just now getting started with the paperwork. He's got to wait another year.
Well, sometimes you just don't listen. A little hard-headed. But that, like he said, they're all great, but you can definitely tell the quality in the slide when it comes to the SVI. It is butter. And I felt all sorts of nice 2011s. But at the end, I think the smoothest was still the Strayer Void. So
sometimes you get what you pay for.
Don't get me wrong, but you can definitely tell the quality and the craftsmanship of the SVI over the STI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Part of that, they're made in Texas as well, but Strayer Void's all in Texas.
Yeah. Florida Bearded Fisherman asked this, and it's okay if we take this towards 3-gun. This is an open mic, but Rick is going to answer that.
Okay, so I have a Stoker, and I actually enjoy the Stoker. So when I was thinking about getting into 3-gun, not really sure I wanted to try it out. Actually, Ray was like, well, get a Stoker, it'll run great, and it's not too expensive. There's obviously better shotguns out there, but mine's running strong still, and I've done it, 3 years now or so. I did upgrade to the Benelli M2, and but I still have the Stoker as a backup shotgun. Works great. So I have the Stoker 3000. There's the 3-gun version, but it's a great gun. It does kick more than the Benelli M2 does for sure, though.
Yeah. Guys, there's a difference between running a shotgun fast and really running one fast. Okay, so on some of these stages or especially like if you go into the runoff, how many times have we made it to the runoffs, Bryson?
Oh God, I have been in probably 30 of them or something ridiculous.
Yeah. So and the thing is let's say they have 9 clays out there, and you're going head to head with somebody because you made it in the finals and the runoffs. It's not about just shooting them and hitting them. It's literally hitting them as fast as you can pull that trigger and making sure your lead is right. And even though you're all shooting birdshot, that Stoker kicks a little more than the Benelli. I am not going to be as fast with it as I am with my Benelli. That being said, I am slightly slower with a Benelli M1 than I am with an M2. I hate to even say the name, but it was a TT M1 built. I actually reviewed it on my channel. I checked it for splits. I was a little slower with it, so I sold it, got my old M2 back.
It is a third of the price, and that's what gets people into 3-gun as well. That's what got me a shotgun, so I could train doing quad loads, and doing all the practice stuff at home.
Okay, so
if you're first getting started and you want to get something like that, that's great. That's a great start. But if you want to compete at a higher level and you're getting to that point, you really can't beat something like an M2 or, moving into that kind of setup. It's a totally different tier. It's kind of apples to oranges. It's different.
It's kind of the 2011 thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the pistols, but in shotgun, the M2.
Yeah, so I know that I can't remember his name, something 308. I guess he didn't know we did 3-gun. I'm going to show that right there. So I was the national champion for the 3-gun nation, factory division champion in 2018. What I'm going to say, because someone said it's a third of the price, if you get to that level, there's no way that I could have won that shooting the Stoker. I'm slower with the Stoker. When you get to that level of competition, there are just fractions of a second that separate your top 10. It's not going to be somebody just blows it out. I mean, yeah, maybe, if you're shooting against Daniel Horner, or maybe you're shooting against, Jerry, but he's going to be in a different division. I don't have to worry about him because he shoots open division. Now, Bryson, on the other hand, he does shoot against Jerry because he's an open division shooter. But then, Jerry likes to run the long tube shotguns. He runs a Dissonant. Now, I was going to go to open before I got picked up by Cobalt last year, and I sold my Dissonant. But there's nothing as fast as that stupid
That thing is amazing.
Yeah, and in being honest with all that, guys, I had the time running a Benelli in TAC Ops for years. I shot a ton of matches, got into a ton of shoot-offs with that. I was actually Generation 3 gun one year, and we actually were competing against, it was a junior thing at the time. I was, I think, 16, and you had teammates, and my first choice was shotgun, just because that's something that, I love running my shotgun, love running it fast. I've got shoulders, I'm built for it. I had guys that were coming out running, JM pros and some of that stuff, because we started off in a open bracket where everybody got to shoot in it. And then you ended up getting to the finals when it became serious. And we actually ended up winning the shoot-offs based off of a jam. I was actually running a Stoker at the time, and I was running an M2. But I
Did you say a Jam Pro or a JM Pro? Jam Pro?
A Jam Pro.
No, he was
JM Pro. Okay.
Yeah, Jam-O-Matic Pro, same thing. But yeah, you get to shoot with a bunch of guys and kind of see the tiers of the guns. And the M2 kind of stood out and shined in that aspect. But when it comes to open, you put me behind something like a Dissonant and it's game over. There's no, I can shoot 9 clays in, maybe 2-3 seconds, if that, with the Benelli. You can cut that in half or less with the Dissonant, just because that thing it's a ripper. Ray and I have shot head to head with that stuff. You guys can find the video on his channel. I think he had shot it and taken his time. I think like 12 seconds, and I shot it in 4 with the Dissonant.
Yeah, because you got to remember, in that open division, not only does he not really have to do a reload, because you got mags that hold what, 25?
Yeah, I've got a 25 round drum.
Okay, so he's got a 25 round drum. He's got a muzzle brake that's that freaking long on it. So you're shooting a shotgun that when you fire it, it doesn't move. There's none of this going on. So he's got a dot on there. It's just as fast as you can. You can't compete against that if you're not in open division. If you're going to run an M2, you're gonna lose to this kid right here running that Dissonant. Now, even with the reloading tubes, and I used to use that way back in the past. Everyone did, and you can load pretty quickly, but it's not going to be as fast as a mag change.
You get a big question on the Sig Legion X5.
Even empty starts too with those tubes. There's no comparison. Versus
okay, Adam, this is a great comment. Okay, so, and I mentioned this today. We were doing a video with KB32 and all this. When I first started into YouTube 2 years ago, because of that guy over there, none of these guys were shooting 2011s. None of them. And I'm going to go ahead and call them out. We're going to call out Val, Bald and Curious. We're going to call out Rick with These Are 6 Covered, Pop's Quest, KB32. None of them shot 2011s. They were shooting Glock CZs, and that's what most people shoot in 3-gun that are just getting into it or haven't quite committed. Adam makes a perfect point. You don't know what you don't know. If you get your hands on one of those 2011s, so my dad was not a big shooter. He was in the military, and he never really liked to shoot because he did so much of it back in the day. But every once in a while, he'll say, son, let's go out and shoot. And I'm not going to lie to you. He's not the greatest with a pistol. I can put him on the 15-yard line with a Glock, and he's going to miss most of them most of the time. You can put any of my custom 2011s, he'll never miss it. He'll hit it every single shot. I can move him back to the 15-yard line. He'll hit it every single shot. So unless you've actually put one in your hands and shot it or shot it in competition, would I carry one for home defense? Absolutely not. Self-protection? Absolutely not. They do require a lot more maintenance. You have to keep them clean. Bryson and Rick will tell you, I have never been to a match where I did not clean my gun in the hotel, because most of these nationals or regional matches are going to be 2 or 3 day events. If you don't do that, you will pay for it the next day or maybe the next day. And that's the difference. You're paying for that Ferrari. You better service it.
It's like putting race gas in it. You got to take care of
Yep.
it. I've done the same thing. I've cleaned my guns in hotel rooms for years. And I will say, and I'm not going to take credit for all the sales or whatever, but I know that back then when I first met Coda Boy and I first met Rick and I first met Pops, those guys never shot an Atlas or any of that stuff. And I was at a Clinton House 3-gun match, and I said, hey, you guys want to try this? And they shot it as soon as we were done with the match. And I don't know if they had shot yours yet or whatever, but
Yep.
that was something that they loved it. And they're like, man, we got to get some time behind it. And, you know, as soon as I left the match, not an hour later, hey, man, let me ask you a question about this. Because, you put a gun like that behind someone who's never shot it before, it's a game changer. It really is. It changes the sport. It changes the way you can shoot and the speed that you can do all that stuff. But there's also for it.
I used to be the biggest diehard Glock fan, and some of you guys might have heard this before, and I shot a 34 for years. And I was talking to Clint Upchurch one night, and Clint Upchurch used to be the pro shooter for Colt. And Clint and I were talking. I was like, Clint, what is going on? I was like, what do I need to do to get that next plateau, get above that level? He goes, you need to get rid of that dang Glock you're shooting. He goes, your shotgun's good, it's solid. Your rifle, he goes, it is solid. You don't need any work there. I was like, well, I'm a really good pistol shot. He goes, but you're not as good as you can be. You need to get an Infinity. Well, I didn't even know what an Infinity was. And then I looked at it and I was like, I'm not spending that kind of money on a pistol. He goes, we might be able to make a phone call or two. That week, I was offered an Infinity. It was Chris Tilley's old pistol, which Val owns now with Bald and Curious. He was on here earlier. And if you don't know who Chris Tilley is, just look him up. Unbelievable shooter. But anyway, I ended up buying a pistol of his when he shot for Team Infinity, and everything changed overnight. And that's when I learned I didn't know what I didn't know.
The splits are so much faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a time and a place for that. That's where, something like the sniper match that we're about to shoot, having a 2011 is great, but you're packing that and you're worried about reliability, being in the pack, being in, dirt, rain, all that stuff. Having something that's a little bit different where you don't have to treat it like a Ferrari out there in the sticks is nice to have.
Yeah, that's when you park at that front spot in between two big old pickup trucks and you're not worried about door dings. That's when you carry the Glock. I don't worry about the reliability in my Infinity or my Akais, but on a match like this where it's going to be in the bottom of a pack, getting dirt, getting everything else in it, I'm not wearing it on my hip all day long, especially if we're crawling around and maybe they put a pistol stage at the end and that's when you load it. I don't want one of those 2011s. I will take a Glock every day of the week. Someone did ask a question. I skipped over it because I didn't get a chance to answer it. I jumped on something else.
The Legion.
Right here.
Yeah.
The SIG Legion X5 is a great pistol. Okay.
Pop's question.
I can't say anything bad about it. I mean, Rob just got one of those. It's a great pistol.
Yeah, he's running it.
Buy it and run it while you're waiting on the 2011. By the time your 2011 comes in, sell the Legion for, consider it a rental fee, lose $100 on it, and then put the rest of the money towards the 2011.
Yeah.
Can you shoot a Legion fast? Yes, but you're probably going to shoot a 2011 faster. And no one that I know of, unless it's their first time or second time, shoots an 870 in 3-gun. Do you guys know of anybody?
No.
Old
heavy division, right?
No, most of those guys are running still Benelli. I think they're Benelli Supernovas that they're running.
Yeah, they run Benelli Supernovas or Novas.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they're $900. They're a great gun though. Rob really likes them right now, and he has or has 3 Atlases, I think.
Yeah, no, Rob's got 4 now, I think. 4 Atlas pistols.
Yeah.
And I see what Florida Bearded Fisherman is saying. It's only everybody has, and what I mean by has something, they have a skill or a hobby or something that they want to pursue. How much you pursue it is probably going to be directly related to how much money you're willing to spend on it, as well as time. I shoot. Bryson, he's finishing up school, but he shoots. Rick shoots a lot. Guys, I pull a trigger pretty much every day or every other day.
Yeah.
I have made a lot of money shooting, and I enjoy it. It's fun. So for me, it's a return on that investment, but I'm making a sacrifice. I'm not buying something else, or I'm not doing something else because this is what I enjoy doing. And I do try to share any information because I make a lot of bad decisions. And so if someone asks me a question, I'll be straightforward. I bought that, and it was a piece. It didn't work for me. I made a mistake, and I lost my butt off on it. But yeah, I don't mean to make lighthearted of a $900 pistol because in the grand scheme of things, $900 is a lot of money. It's twice the cost of getting a Glock.
If you talk about deep sea fishing, though, when you put on a nice 2-speed reel and a nice wrap freaking pole and all that shit, you're walking out the door 15, depending on what reel you're getting and how big of a you're going for as far as fish. But that stuff gets expensive. I got a ton of it over there. Not a ton of it.
Or like my buddy I had dinner with 2 nights ago, and he said, I got me a center console. Well, there you go. There's your Infinity. There's your Benelli M2. Because I don't have a center console Grady White sitting out in the yard. I don't fish.
You have to consider the people right here in this chat have experience shooting and spend a lot of time shooting. We're spending, over 15,000, 20,000 rounds a year, if not more, sometimes way more. We have the time behind the guns and know what we're looking for. We're not there for, hey, we want to buy this cheap thing because we want to use this for this. We're spending the money to get what we need to be the best we can be in our competition and all sport to better our abilities rather than, settle for something that's not going to let us do as well. You kind of want to spend that little bit of extra money and a little bit of extra time to do it right the first time, not have to worry about it.
Well, these
guys, I told Rick, buy once, cry once.
Yeah, amen. They have been shooting a lot longer than me. I'm new to this whole thing basically, but I want to emphasize that when I lived in California, I bought a nice rifle, put a crappy scope on it. Bought another nice rifle, put a crappy scope on it. Didn't know any better, right? I've never even heard of Night Force or all these crazy things or 2011 SBIs and STIs. Never even heard of it. Never even really needed it. As I wanted to become better at something, then my gear needed to get a little better. And can I do it with a cheap scope and an okay rifle? Yeah, I could probably hit it, but it might be on the 10th round. Where if I want to hit it on the first, second round, I needed to upgrade my gear. So, yeah, there you go. John says, "You get what you pay for."
I think I know that, John Kreiderman, and I think you do too, Bryson. You just don't know.
Yeah, and don't settle for mediocrity. That is the easiest thing that I see so many people do. They'll get a pistol, they'll get a setup for mediocrity.
Oh, yeah.
They will get something and think it's the bee's knees, and then slowly, this isn't as great, and but it's still going to work. It's still going to be fine, and it holds them back in competition and in their shooting ability.
Okay, so I'm going to click on this question right here. We're going to be careful how we answer it. I will tell you, all I'm going to say is I have another life, and I have national carry, so I have something that's issued to me. So that is a Glock 19. How about you guys?
Rick.
I carry a SIG P365.
I carry 2 knives because I am 18 years old and I can't carry a firearm. I cannot shoot you, but I will stab you.
Hey, it's the same thing as deadly force. So if I'm not carrying a G19, I do have a P365 with over 2,000 logged rounds on it, and it is solid. I love it. It just depends on what time of year it is. And no, I will not eat gas station sushi, period. I do eat sushi, and a lot of it. I'm part Asian. Come on, it's in my nature. But no gas station sushi for me.
And that other stuff, the cabbage.
Oh, kimchi. Come on now. Shibasiki knows what I'm talking about.
Kimchi's actually pretty good. And I will make this joke, and Ray knew I made the joke when we went to Pro-Am this past year. He said, "Oh, let's go get a steak," and we drove past the sushi restaurant. I said, "Oh, it's the people. Let's go get food there."
The people.
I went there.
It's okay. It's okay. Yep, that's it. I say this all the time. Oh, not that one. No, I don't say buy big, cry once. I say buy once, cry once.
Yep. It's worth it every time. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, so you guys don't know the story. Bryson, I mean, half of you guys do, but there's 47 people on here. Bryson is only 18 years old. I've actually had to sign for him at a competition to be the
my daddy. Can you be my dad?
legal guardian or whatever, because we're local to each other, and says like, hey, we're gonna go to this match. And I'm like, what, do you have a parent and a guardian? So yeah, it's crazy that he was a sponsored shooter, is a sponsored shooter, and he can't carry.
I've had to go through so much legal paperwork as far as shooting goes and with sponsorships, where I've had manufacturers send me firearms. And my ex-sponsor, Cobalt Kinetics, sent me quite a few firearms last year, and I had a lot of issues with legal paperwork because I couldn't sign for any of it. So at the time, I'm like, hey, I need some help with this because I can't take the firearms that I have won or the firearms that I'm being given to shoot with. And it's funny too, because you can put me, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but you can put me against a lot of law enforcement nowadays and a lot of different people, and I can outshoot them with their own firearms. So, that's kind of
most
totally
law enforcement can't shoot.
True. They don't care to get better is the problem.
Either that or agencies don't have the funding. It depends on what size agency and everything. I do a lot with law enforcement training, and I can tell you they don't. Most of your civilians that
10 feet from my fire station with a shooting range, and
I've been there. I've been there,
and they don't go there unless there's calls, and then they suck ass at it, and then they need to do it again, and they'll have to come back.
It's pretty sad when I was shooting USPSA and there were some law enforcement officers who came in, and I'm not trying to knock them at all. They have a hard job and do a lot for us, but when you've got an officer asking you, and I was at I think 13 at the time, and I was shooting a Glock 35, or excuse me, a Glock 22, 40 cal, which is what a lot of guys carry as a duty pistol. I was out shooting them by 15, 20 seconds, not hitting any no shoots, scoring all alphas. And those guys were nailing no shoots right, left, and sideways and had to take so much more time. And they're asking a 13-year-old, hey, can you tell me how you shoot that fast and how you can do this? It's kind of interesting to see that back then and learn from there.
Did you say I practice?
Yeah, practicing it and being, disciplined enough to hold yourself to get better and having a true passion for it rather than just, hey, this is my job and, I'm good. I qualified.
What's your bolt you got in Black Beauty, Ray?
I have the Gym Tech. Now, there is another company, and I do not remember the name of it. I was trying to find out the name of it. I was getting it zeroed for a gentleman the other day, and I don't know if they bought that technology or that system from Gym Tech. It's the same thing, but it has two other positions. So it's not suppressed and unsuppressed. You have two positions in between there, so that way you're not stuck between on and off, basically. But yes, Black Beauty does have the Gym Tech in it.
And that's for the bull carrier group?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so when I'm shooting with the Thunder Beast on there, which that gun, the Thunder Beast lives on Black Beauty, it's always in the suppressed position.
That's the other thing about suppressors and all that stuff. I would love to have a lot of that gear, and I would be able to have access to it. The issue is I am not of the legal age to access a lot of that stuff right now. So I physically can't do it unless it's there's some little loopholes and stuff. It's still legal and everything like that, but it's really hard to do. It's kind of inaccessible for me at the moment.
Bryson was coming. He was coming to matches, and he had his permit, and he's like, I got to be home before 9, and we'd be like down in South Carolina. I'm like, hey, you want to go eat dinner? He's like, no, I got to get home. I got to be home before 9 because of law.
I'm really careful about that stuff, guys. I want to make sure that's very clear. I want to stay on the right side of that line every time. I've made sure of that throughout the years. But I respect law enforcement and everything and don't want to cause any troubles there. But there's a lot of stuff that people don't recognize, especially being a junior or a minor in the sport. It's a lot harder. And like Rick was saying, going, having a permit and all that stuff, it's crazy. But when you're dedicated and you have a passion for the sport, you do what you need to do for the sport that you love.
Yeah. Of course, when Bryson was 16, he looked like he was 18 because he was like 7 feet tall. But I'm like, Ray, how old's that kid? He's not 18.
Yeah. Okay. So this right here is a little different. His question was about the Gemtech SBC. I'm not familiar with the SBC. I do have the Gemtech bolt carrier group, but it is for use with the suppressor. They are very, very difficult to find. So I'm not sure what you're referring to there.
Bootleg carrier made. I don't know.
The 1821 laws make 0 sense. Amen on that one. I do think there's some very stupid 18-year-olds that I wouldn't trust with a gun. But I don't know. I don't want to get into that argument, but there's definitely some things I don't agree with.
Yep. That's a tough one. It's pretty sad when you can go die for your country, but you can't freaking own a pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can put an AR-15 into my hand, and that's fine.
But you can buy a rifle. You can buy an AR-15 all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You hand me a Glock versus handing me an AR platform.
It's not supposed to make sense, folks. It's not supposed to make sense.
No.
That's like smoking. You're 18, you're an adult, but in North Carolina and who knows where else, you can't buy tobacco until you're 21 now.
Yeah, a lot of dumb 29-year-olds as well. That's a fact.
That is a fact. A lot of dumb 49-year-olds too.
There you go.
Look at us.
That's a fact.
Yeah, by no means am I trying to be the same as my generation. I'm trying to be a little bit different. I am being myself and not playing into all the drama and stuff. And that's where, I'm still in school, and most people don't realize that. I go to school every day. I'm in my senior year of high school, and I'm, have a job. I'm shooting. I'm doing all this stuff. So it's not like, I sit at home and play with guns all day. I go to school and I work. So I don't have the same time that some of these people do who are, a lot older than me and, have jobs where, hey, I've got all this extra time. I don't have that time. I know both of y'all can attest to that.
Yeah. And you don't really know Bryson just from being on here, but from hanging out with him all the time. He's not your normal 18-year-old either. He's very mature. Young man.
I appreciate that, Rick.
And he shoots really good.
Sometimes. A lot of times.
Sometimes. Man, I went through some rounds today, boys. Woo! That bolt
me too.
was smoking when I got done. Yeah, Bryson had texted me and said, hey, you want to shoot tomorrow? I said, I'm out of ammo. Pretty much. What time
kind of
you
ammo
going
you need? I need a spotter.
What time are you going over
Hey,
there?
what time are you going to the range tomorrow, Bryson?
I'm thinking between 11 and 12 out to probably later in the evening, probably 4 or 5 o'clock. I'm going to spend quite a bit out there.
Okay, so I have to take my daughter to ballet tomorrow, and I think I drop her off at like 1, and I'll be on the north end of town, so that only puts me like 25 minutes away from the training area. So I'm not going to say that I can make it. I'm just going to say there is a chance that I can make it, but I will let you know.
Okay. Yeah, that would be good. A little bit of time also having a spotter and someone to sit there and yell at me to go faster. That's always fantastic.
Is Jeremy doing anything tomorrow?
I don't know.
He's going to be busy tomorrow.
Okay.
I spoke with him earlier.
Yeah, he was there today.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the match should be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I've tried to put on a bunch of weight. I've added in eight pounds, and that way I've got some energy to burn, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, it's the first time for Bryson. He's never done one of these matches, and it is completely different.
You put on 8, and I lost 37. I mean, that's it. Totally different.
Hey, Bryson, I ran my own little match today by myself while the guys were down doing pistols, you know. So I videoed it. I did some different positions and stuff. So I kept going from the 300 to the 500 just back and forth so I could remember the dope. And, man, that's tough when you are not laying prone and you're basically off the end of a table and everything's open, no bags.
That's, you know, it was easy for that test. When we looked at the test that Ray and I did, to look at that and think, oh, yeah, that's stable, that's easy. It's not. It's hard.
Yeah.
Especially being someone, and I'm not going to make an excuse here, but being someone who's 6'3", 200 pounds, you can't get into some of those positions that he can fit in. He can fit in places that I can't even dream about fitting in.
He's a little ninja squirrel. What are you talking about?
Hey, I still have, my nickname was Tactical Dart, so.
Yeah, and what did we come up with mine? Sasquatch.
That's right.
Bigfoot. No,
I'm not, the camera makes me look small, and that's a good thing, but I'm not as little as I look.
No, Bryson's a big boy. Tim, the temperature here, it's above freezing. It is not 8 degrees. We get big
31.
temperature swings here. It's 31
right now. It's either 1 or 7.
But it's supposed to start warming up a lot over the next couple of weeks. 31 degrees outside.
Something we didn't mention at all, and I wanted to kind of ask you this, Ray, is what are some small things that you are packing in your pack for this match that most people might not consider or think about?
I'm very minimalistic. I'm not going to be carrying much.
Do you have backup?
You're that guy, Bryson, that I ask for an Advil or a Leave because my old bones are starting to hurt. I won't have any of that stuff. I just carry the bare essentials to get me through this match. What is that?
Hey, it's already packed. It's already packed.
Right?
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I have migraines. I get migraines quite a bit from stress and all kinds of other stuff. I've got migraine meds. I've got Advil. I've got ibuprofen.
You got everything you'd ever want, man.
Sometimes for older people,
you got some of this over here, man. You want one of these? You got some of those.
This thing weighs less than 3/4 of a pound. I think it's like a little over half a pound. I don't care
but see, all that stuff adds up. I'll have a tourniquet and some duct tape. That's it.
That's all you need.
Duct tape. Tourniquet.
Yeah. No, I won't have any extra little small things. What I showed you guys pretty much what I'll have, other than the actual firearms themselves. Of course, we didn't talk about eyes and ears. An important thing, a good lens wipe. A really good lens wipe, because your stuff is going to get nasty, and not being able to see through your optics is a bad thing.
Do you carry backup ear? Do you carry backup foamies in case you guys lose your little things?
Yep.
I do not.
No,
because mine are tethered, so I'm not going to lose those like that.
I switched from wearing the Grizzly ears. I'm actually going to wear my form-fitted Ear Pro just so I don't have to worry about them falling out, because when we were at range day shooting some, I had one Ear Pro fall out. I'm not going to let that happen in the match. I'm not going to have to worry about it. I'd rather have them in there. A little bit harder to hear some stuff, but I'm not as worried. They've got filters in them, so I'd rather have something that keeps my ears safe, and I don't have to worry about them falling out. It's just something kind of more last-minute decision as I'm finishing packing up. It's something I was really considering.
TV brings up a good point. All right, you guys, we got 15 minutes left, unless Ray wants to go into a bonus round. But we have. If you got any questions, make sure you get them out there.
No, we're gonna wrap it up at the 2-hour mark for sure. But yeah, I do have lens caps on the Night Force. Period. I'm gonna have lens. I mean, I have lens caps on everything because it gets really dusty and nasty. Tim said, "Do you have Bryson in your kit?"
No, I do not. And see, here's the thing. Everybody's going to make fun of me and say, oh, he's got all this crap in his pack. Okay. If I've got an extra half a pound of kit in my bag, and I'm carrying, I've packed a whole lot more than 45 pounds in these past couple months. I've carried up to 70 pounds and ran with it for miles. And I know those guys can attest. I've been sending them pictures and videos of me doing this stuff and putting in the time and work in. I would rather carry an extra half pound and not have to worry about some person. I'm not going to call old people out, but I'm just going to say someone who might get a little more sore than I would over time might complain for that Advil or ibuprofen. I'd rather have a nice, peace and quiet run than have to deal with, oh, my back's aching. I respect my elders more than most people think, but that's one thing I don't want to listen to.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're carrying the Aleve. I think Ben here might have contacted me a couple times, or at least put a comment out. I think he came up with a bipod design and was thinking about putting it out and asked me about, is it a popular thing? I'm going to let Bryson answer that as well as Rick, but I think he has a design for a bipod and wanted to know if there was a market for a bipod. And I told him, let's hear what you guys have to say.
Absolutely. There's 100% a market for bipods, different designs and all that stuff. I mean, he's been doing a lot of testing, but it all depends on the price range and exactly what group you're going for and what you want to do with it. It's kind of, there's a huge market for it, but it's all on what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah, Ben, I think there's a lot of need and want out there. And the reason that I say that is because it's got to have cant. Okay, we talked about this earlier. I don't know. It's got to have freaking cant. It's got to have decent legs, and it needs to have 45s going both ways and 90s or 180s, depending on what side of the spectrum you're on. And, you talk about an Atlas, you talk about a Thunder Beast, you talk about a Warren. They're all great, and some are better than the others. You need to watch Ray's video on rubber compounds and bouncing is a big thing. You need to think about different things, but price point. If you want to get on the market, we're only a few going to buy it because it's so expensive, but really built like a brick house. Or maybe you want to get those guys that are from basically the burst kind of the lower end stuff, but want to go to that next level. Something in the middle there. I don't know, but yeah, there's precision lumbering rifles huge right now. I think designated marksman matches are huge, are getting bigger. So the market is starting to become long range, I think.
And 3-gun is not completely out the window either. That's something too. When I first got into the whole bipod game, being in 3-gun, at the time I was pro staff for Warren scope mounts. Having that bipod was something that was a game changer. When you've got a lot of guys running, just the Harrises or the Magpuls or things like that, you get something that's a little bit better quality, and you can do a lot more with it than a lot of those guys can do.
It's got a cant. It has to cant. It
sounds when he says that, it reminds me of more cowbell. More cowbell.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
More what?
That's it. More cowbell.
Oh.
All right. So Motor, I do not do live chats that often. I'm just now getting into them. I'm hoping I can do them once a month. So this is actually twice for this month, but it's only because of this upcoming match. Also, when I do a chat, I also kill it usually. I don't leave them public for the world to see.
Which is dumb.
I don't care. I'm glad you guys could get in on the inside track, and those that spent the time getting in on it, they did. I can't. There's just sometimes that I just don't feel good about leaving some stuff public.
That's bipod under $200. Under $200?
Man, you're in that price range that
That's
really kind of
Harris. Just go Harris.
Yeah, just in that case, just go Harris that has cant to it.
With cant.
And then you got to get an ADM mount to attach it to a pick rail or something
No,
like that.
actually, Rick
No.
has a proprietary Harris that I had gotten years ago. They weren't even being manufactured, but there was a company, and it might have been Knights, I'm not sure. He actually has it, but it has an arms mount integrated with cant, and it was one of my best ones. And when he needed one, I was like, "Here, take this one. You're not taking the Atlases."
Yeah. It's on loan is all it is. I got to get something.
Yeah, no, he just needed something, and it was one that I had. It was just laying around. But Motorboater, thanks for joining in on us. We're getting ready to cut it down here in about 10 minutes.
He did. One good question was, what will we be carrying for food? You go ahead, Ray. What are you carrying?
Okay, so I've got a friend named Bryson that's going to be carrying all the food. And so, I mean, he's got the Advil, he's got all the old man stuff, so I'll let him do that. I'll probably, in all seriousness, yeah, we will be out there for at least 12 hours, I would say, a good 12 hours. I will probably break down an MRE and grab one or two of the good ones. Not a normal MRE. They're the first strike rations, and they're a little bit bigger. But I'll take. Go to your bed. The dog is out of the kennel. Go to your bed. Anyway, I'll take one or two like that, and that's it. I won't have anything else.
See, I'm taking a different approach as someone who has been dieting for the past, I don't know, 6 months, and I have literally been on meal prep for the past 3 without, change. My protein intake right now is approximately the equivalent of 6 chickens a day, which is kind of unbelievably high for the amount of protein that I take. So I have some super high protein bars. Now this looks bigger. I've got protein bars that are up to, I believe, 30 grams of protein. I've got like 3 or 4 of those, some sugar tablets and stuff. But stuff like that for me, for my diet right now, I need to keep the high protein. I can go without it if need be, but something like that gives me that extra boost. Being used to the meal prep right now, it kind of benefits me there.
Can you put an extra? You got a little bit of space for a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts? Okay, so you know what I've been eating the whole night we've been chatting? These are chocolate bars,
Candy?
chocolate hearts. I have almost finished the entire bag.
That one.
I have not had chocolate in 4 months.
You haven't had anything good to eat in 4 months, Bryson.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that, but I'm driven and I have dedication to what I'm doing.
I know, you're doing good. I got to give you kudos.
It's been a lifestyle change, that's for sure, but it's worth it.
That's Billy 429 showed up 8 minutes to the end of
Did that happen during the run and gun? Because these guys might not be familiar with that.
What?
Yep. So the run and gun that I shot that Ray posted the video of, and I know Val is going. Oh, listen. Okay, I see this. All right.
No, you're the one that was making fun of the old man. I think this old man put it in the rabbit gear there for a little bit.
The rope?
I didn't make fun of you. The old man kicked my tail, okay? I was not physically fit. I was not ready for that match, but I competed in it, and I got a good opportunity to show myself what I needed to work on.
Yes, you did.
I finished the match. I got done, and I said, and I told Ray this at the time, and I also told one of the other people who we work with that I was changing. From that day forward, I was not going back to the things that I was doing, unhealthy habits with eating, unhealthy habits with fitness. I'm sitting there working my biceps thinking, yeah, this is great. I'm going to get really strong, and I'm not working the rest of my body. And that was the day that I changed. My focus changed. My drive changed. Everything changed. I was really disappointed with how I finished in that match based on the fact that, things like the rope I struggled with. And I'm not going to make excuses. I did poorly. And from that point on, I literally that week got on a meal plan with that same person who was with us and have not gotten off of it since then. And I stayed on the drive. I mean, I've been working out 7 days a week to the point where there were days I was running 7-8 miles a day. And I ended up getting the flu and having to take a break from that. But it's been 37 pounds of that time, and I put on an extra 12 pounds of muscle mass. there's times when I feel like the Hulk now. I've never felt better physically than I have now.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's excellent.
It is. Because you're going to have to carry Ray those last 10.
That's fine. He's seen the leg press videos. I can handle it.
Don't you worry about this, old man. I can hold my own.
No, I know you can. That's why I'm not worried.
You guys are going to do great. Well, everybody out there in the chat, wish them luck. What do we got? 2 weeks or 1 week, or what do we got?
We
1
leave
week.
next Thursday. Yeah, this next Thursday we're leaving out, and we'll be back on Sunday night.
There you go.
Somebody made a comment earlier. Am I going to post a video soon? I'm going to be taking video tomorrow of me training, and yes, I will post it if I figure out how to do that.
Monster Energy Drinks, LZ USA. No way, I can't do them. Cannot do them. X-Ring challenged you, and you stepped up. Oh,
Yep. Absolutely. I look up to X-Ring tremendously. He's a good friend of mine.
Go like this.
Well, thank you.
No,
yeah, look like the Brady Bunch.
I seriously do.
Story.
And
No, I gotta look this way.
I gotta go. Yeah.
No, that's seriously. I've tremendously looked
He's
up
not
to him.
old enough to know what we're talking about.
Oh, that's funny. No, I can't do monster drinks. I'll lay in bed and tweak out the whole time. It's horrible.
Yeah, I can't do
TD had asked me about magazines. I was going through the filing cabinet, and I remember seeing a question about magazines that was not answered. I only run in an AR platform Lancer mags. I do not run Magpuls. I don't run anything else but Lancer. I have zero issues with these. They are a little harder to seat, but I don't have problems.
And they
That's what
work
I'm running.
really well. And if you get the Ghost black ones, you can see how many rounds you got in them. They're the best mags
I can
ever.
always check and see how many rounds are in my mags.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of those magazines, and I've probably got, well, Rick knows how many mags I've got. I mean, I've got everything from, metal mags to you name it, but this is what I use in competition.
Oh, I think Bryson knows how to post a video. He's an Instagram master.
Yeah, most of the guys don't know. I post a ton on Instagram and Facebook. I'm just new to the YouTube stuff, but I'm trying. If you guys are pushing me, I'll do it.
Well, you guys make sure you get over to Bryson Shoots and help him, want to make videos by hitting the subscribe button. And if you guys want me to make Ray look good, go ahead and hit Is Your Six Covered. Subscribe. Dang it, I always do it wrong.
I did this just for you.
For me? Oh, there you go. Subscribe. That's all one word. Is Your Six Covered. Actually, it's the number 6, though, fool.
Well, I can't ever tell if it's the number 6 or if it isn't 6.
It's a 6.
Okay, hold on.
We've
got about 4 minutes to close it out.
How many
I'll leave the
people are
chat.
watching?
I'll leave the chat public for about a day, and then I'll kill it.
How many people are watching?
47. Is that better, Rick?
That's it. I'll text in the comments. Come subscribe. 47.
And then, so while we're finishing out, we've got 2 minutes. Bryson, anyone you need to shout out or give a shout out to or anything?
I need to give a huge shout out to Kinsey's Optics for all their support. Sending me optics, sending me this Olsen 507C for my Glock. Really huge thanks to them for all that they do for me. Shout out to J&L Machining for hooking me up tremendously with the Glock slide. And then a huge shout out to the man right here, X-Ring, for helping me out with everything in PPE and getting me into this sport. I can't thank him enough.
Well, thank you, Bryson. I appreciate it. Rick?
Tim wants to know if I'm going to do an after chat. No, probably not. What time is it? No. Actually, I can't because my hours are up.
He has no more chat hours. That's why I had to host
I can
this.
if I use my phone on YouTube, but no, I think we've learned enough tonight. I would like to shout out a couple of people. I would like to shout out to these two guys. Good luck, and I hope you guys do really well. And
Thank
then,
you.
if you haven't seen the video of me shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor at 100 yards and splitting a bullet and knife in half, go check that video out. So that was pretty cool. And I owe all my expertise to this old man over here on the right.
Oh, geezer.
I can only say that because we're the same age.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, so I do have to do quite a few, so just give me just a second. I got like 15 seconds. I'll keep it going for like another minute. I'm just doing a thing now with Optics Planet. If you put X-Ring in the coupon code, it does give you 5% off your entire order. Also, big shout out to Defender Ammunition Company. They've supported me for many years along the way. I will be shooting their ammunition for this match here for the pistol. Trigger Tech triggers. I do have to give them a big shout out. I know there were quite a few people that were asking about the Trigger Tech. I recently had the chance to try one of the Trigger Tech Diamond AR triggers. And honestly, spending $300 for another trigger wasn't in my future. And KB32 put me onto them because I've had plenty of the Geisleys and everything else, and Geisleys, however you want to say it, the Timneys and everything. And I've had a lot of problems with the modular triggers, even the ELF triggers. People say, well, have you tried a CMMG? Is that the one you've got, Rick, the CMMG? That was a problem?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've just had a lot of issues with modular triggers. So I've been running Hyperfire triggers for the better part of 3.5, almost 4 years now. Yeah, and Bryson, I've always loved, probably before you were even shooting the Trigger Tech or the Hyperfires, I had a chance to try the Trigger Tech, and it is the best trigger I have ever used in an AR platform by far. I will be running it in the Bushnell Elite on my 5.56. There is no comparison to anything I've ever tried. It uses a roller mechanism. It doesn't use a friction sear, and you can adjust the weight down to a pound and some change or something. But it is a lot for the trigger. The other thing I need to give a shout out to another person is Thunder Beast Arms. Those guys have been super, super good to me over the last couple of years. And like I said, their suppressors and their bipod, incredible, but especially their suppressors.
Awesome.
The other one, last one I've got to mention, and I have to do this, guys. I know you've heard me talk about the Borka tools, okay? The other kit that I have doesn't have their name on it, but it's the Borka tool set. It's owned by Boris Tepper. I am one of their sales associates now. I helped them come up with the idea for the pack. If you are looking for a hard-use field kit, tool kit, we're talking about field use, okay? I'm not talking about something you're going to do in your shop, but you need precision torque values because you are using really good equipment. You want to make sure that your torque values are right. There really isn't an equal to them, especially if you're going to carry it with you. I will be carrying this smaller kit that was just introduced by him instead of the big heavy one because I'm looking about saving weight. And this will have a torque driver and just the fittings that I need for my equipment. I'm not going to take a bunch of extra stuff. I'm trying to save the weight. So other than that, thanks for joining in. Rick, thanks for being the MC on the channel tonight. Bryson, thank you for joining. And we hope to see you guys soon. Anything else you guys want to say?
Yes. If you guys want X-Ring to do this more than once a month, normally you should somehow tell them.
I don't know if I can handle that, but either way, yes, it is better than the SSA. I've owned every Geisler trigger, and I mean everything from the 416 machine gun triggers. You guys have seen me do the review on that. I actually put a Geisler in there. Nothing touches that Trigger Tech. I'm telling you. So take it for what it's worth.
I can tell you were excited about that trigger.
Man, I've got the AR golds in here, the ALG. I've got them all, and
yeah, I know
because you've been here. It's like, here, try this one.
Yeah.
Nothing touches this one, and you don't have to worry about it doubling. All right, guys. Well, you guys have a good evening. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great week. In a minute.